Welcome to Sage Audio. Today we're looking at how to EQ a mix. To get the most from your music, watch the entirety of each chapter for a complete understanding of the topic. But first, if you have a mix that you need mastered, send it to us to receive a free mastered sample of it with the link in the description. Adding stereo air to a mix. Now for this video, let's focus on processing the mix bus with EQ. Keep in mind that none of these sections are in any particular order, and you can use them individually or collectively. Back to the topic, if we use a mid-side EQ, we can easily achieve a really sought-after sound. We'll create a high shelf to our side image and gradually increase its amplitude. Now what's great about boosting this frequency range on the side image is that it rarely contains harsh or unwanted signals. For example, vocal sibilants, intense cymbal sounds, and other aggressive high frequencies are usually isolated to the mid-image, so increasing this aspect of a mix often has a really unpleasant sound. However, this isn't an issue with the side image. Let's take a listen to this shelf being used on a mix.
Faster, hit the gas quick, go faster. Make a left drift, go faster. Money bag stick, count faster. Jack of all tricks, no actor. So we gon' take a risk and go faster.
Subtle stereo expansion. If we use an EQ with filters that can be isolated to the left and right channels, we can create some great sounding stereo imaging suitable for the mix bus. I'll create 2 bell filters, one on the left and another on the right. Then I'll vary their frequencies by about 20 to 50 hertz. These close frequency bells will cause mild and natural sounding phase cancellation that will widen the mix. Let's take a listen.
Faster, hit the gas quick, go faster. Make a left drift, go faster. Money bag stick, count faster. Jack of all tricks, no master. Demons in the mist, no pastor. But this all we get, no actor. So we gon' take a risk and go faster.
If you're enjoying the video, consider hitting the like button. It really helps us bring you more videos. Automated EQ. If you want certain sections of your mix to stick out or maybe fall back a bit, try automating an EQ in and out. For example, say I have an EQ with the high frequency side shelf that I covered a moment ago. I could turn it on and off at certain points of the song. If I go to my automation window, then I select this EQ's bypass setting, I can turn it on and off, say during the chorus. This will help differentiate sections of the mix from other sections. It also opens up a lot of creative possibilities. Let's take a listen to it.
Faster, hit the gas quick, go faster. Make a left drift, go faster. Money bag stick, count faster. Jack of all tricks, no master. Demons in the mist, no pastor. But this all we get, no actor. So we gon' take a risk and go faster.
EQ with saturation. Saturation adds harmonics which increase certain parts of the frequency response. If we use a curve analyzer, we can more clearly see how this works. With that in mind, if you want to boost your highs, you can use an exciter, or you can use tube saturation to increase your lows, or tape saturation to increase your mids. Now be sure to use your ears since each saturator is a little different. Let's take a listen to this.
Faster, hit the gas quick, go faster. Make a left drift, go faster. Money bag stick, count faster. Jack of all tricks, no master. Demons in the mist, no pastor. But this all we get, no actor. So we gon' take a risk and go faster.
Only a small percentage of people that watch our videos are subscribed, so if you're enjoying the video, consider subscribing. It's free and you can always change your mind. Analog EQ with Unity settings. Most analog EQ emulations and the hardware on which they're modeled impart very subtle frequency curves onto the signal. For this reason, a lot of engineers will keep a piece of hardware in their mix bus or master chain, but keep all of the settings at Unity. I like to use the Mag EQ for this since I find it has a really pleasant curve that works well for a lot of mixes. But you have a lot of options for this, so place an analog emulator on your mix bus and listen carefully for the changes it makes. Let's take a listen to the Mag EQ for at Unity settings.
Faster, hit the gas quick, go faster. Make a left drift, go faster. Money bag stick, count faster. Jack of all tricks, no master. Demons in the mist, no
Gullfoss EQ, then Additive EQ. Additive EQ will boost both the frequencies you want and the ones you don't, especially when using wider bandwidths. With that in mind, if you have the plugin, use the Gullfoss EQ before Additive EQ to subtly reduce the effect of masking and an unbalanced mix. Keep the effect subtle since it can become overbearing on a full mix pretty quickly. Then, with the mix balanced, amplify what you want a little bit more. This way you don't have to worry about amplifying the wrong thing. Let's take a listen.
Faster, hit the gas quick, go faster. Make a left drift, go faster. Money bags thick, count faster. Jack of all tricks, no master. Demons in the mist, no pastor. But this so we get no after. So we gon' take a risk and go faster.
If you'd like our custom plugin presets, audio samples, loops, download sheets, a members-only badge next to your name in the comments, and more, consider joining with the link in the description. Increase dynamic range with EQ. On occasion, I'll use a dynamic EQ to both equalize my mix bus and increase the dynamic range of my signal. To do this, I'll create dynamic bands and lower the gain of the band while raising the range of the dynamic processing, usually by about a couple dB in both directions. This way I get to amplify aspects of the range, but when the signal isn't present or it falls below my threshold, the frequency's amplitude is reduced. This is a great way to combine a couple forms of processing with a really pragmatic effect. Let's take a listen.
Faster, hit the gas quick, go faster. Make a left drift, go faster. Money bags thick, count faster. Jack of all tricks, no master. Demons in the mist, no pastor. But this so we get no after. So we gon' take a risk and go faster.
Parallel-shaped reverb. If you're an engineer that uses subtle reverb on the mix bus, consider shaping it to better control what frequencies are being introduced in its reflections. Some plugins let you do this within its interface, but if you're using one that doesn't, send your mix to a parallel track and then add equalization. If I do this, I typically amplify the high frequency of the reverberation to add a little air to it. And if you do choose the parallel option, you can affect the left, right, mid, and side of the reverb, similar to how we were equalizing earlier. Let's take a listen to it.
Faster, hit the gas quick, go faster. Make a left drift, go faster. Money bags thick, count faster. Jack of all tricks, no master. Demons in the mist, no pastor. But this so we get no after. So we gon' take a risk and go faster.
If you have a mix that you need mastered, send it to us to receive a free mastered sample of it with the link in the description. Thank you so much for watching.